Chosen ones, God is reaching you now. 30 minutes left before his sign vanishes. Feel that tremor in your soul, that quickening in your chest? It's not chance. It's not coincidence. It's the creator of the universe pressing pause on the chaos of your life to whisper your name. Right now, as you hear these words, heaven is leaning in. Angels are poised and a divine sign is flickering before you. A radiant beacon carved with your destiny, glowing in the spiritual realm. But hear this. This sign won't linger. Like a shooting star streaking across a midnight sky, it's here for a moment, and in 30 minutes it may fade forever. You didn't stumble upon this message. This message hunted you down. Why? Because you're not ordinary. You're chosen. And God is saying this is your moment to rise, to step into the purpose I've woven into your spirit before the stars were born. Picture it now, a golden scroll unfurling in the courts of eternity, your name etched in divine ink, shimmering with promise. This isn't just a metaphor, it's the truth of who you are. You've felt it, haven't you? That restless fire in your bones, that ache for something greater than the life you're living now. Maybe you've been battered by rejection, weighed down by doubt, or haunted by the sting of doors slamming shut when you thought they'd lead to freedom. Maybe you've prayed until your voice cracked, wondering if God was listening. Chosen one, he's been listening all along. Every tear you've cried has been caught in his hands, every struggle a chisel in his divine workshop sculpting you for this precise hour. Your pain wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Your delays weren't denials, they were divine detours, guiding you to this sacred moment when God's sign is calling you to act. Let's anchor this in the Word of God. In Jeremiah 1:5, the Lord declares, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." Do you hear the weight of that promise? Before your first breath, God saw this moment, you, here now, on the edge of a breakthrough that will rewrite your story. But breakthroughs don't come to those who wait in the shadows, they come to those who dare to move when the sign appears. Think of Moses standing before a bush ablaze with God's voice. He could have hesitated, dismissing it as a trick of the desert heat, but he stepped forward, and that choice freed a nation. Or consider Esther, her heart pounding as she approached the king uninvited, knowing death could await. Her courage saved her people. You're at your own burning bush, your own royal threshold, and the clock is ticking, 30 minutes until the sign dim. Why the urgency? Because divine timing isn't like human schedules. God's opportunities are like rare comets. They blaze brightly, but pass swiftly. In Isaiah 55:6, we're warned, "Seek the Lord while he may be found. Call on him while he is near." That word "while" is a divine deadline. You've felt it before, haven't you? That moment when you sensed a nudge to act, to start that project, to forgive that person, to step out in faith. But you waited and the window closed. Maybe it was a job opportunity that went to someone else, a relationship that slipped away, or a dream that now feels out of reach. Chosen one, this isn't about guilt. It's about awakening. God's sign is here now, but it won't wait for your doubts to dissolve or your fears to fade. It demands your yes, and it demands it now. Let me share a story to make this real. In 2022, in a small Ohio town, a man named Marcus sat in his dimly lit living room, scrolling through his phone, feeling like life had passed him by. At 47, he'd faced years of setbacks, a layoff, a broken engagement, and a health scare that left him questioning his purpose. One night, he stumbled on a message much like this one, urging him to act before a divine moment passed. His heart raced, but he felt a pull to dismiss it. Another motivational talk, he thought. Yet something stirred. Instead of scrolling past, he paused, grabbed a notebook and wrote down a goal. to start a woodworking business he'd dreamed of since his teens. That night, he took one small action, listing an old chair he'd crafted on a local marketplace. Within days, orders poured in. Today, Marcus's workshop employs 5 locals, and he leads a men's group at his church, sharing how one choice, one moment changed everything. What if this is your Marcus moment? What if 30 minutes from now, you're either stepping toward your destiny or letting it slip through your fingers? You might be thinking, but what if I'm not ready? What if I've made too many mistakes? Let me stop you there. Your past doesn't disqualify you. It authenticates you. Look at David, a shepherd boy who became a king despite his flaws. Or Peter, who denied Jesus 3 times yet became the rock of the early church. God doesn't call the perfect, He perfects the called. Your struggles, those sleepless nights, those moments of despair, they weren't random. They were forging you into someone unbreakable, someone ready for the weight of the destiny behind this sign. In Romans 8:28, we're promised, all things work together for good to those who love God, who are called according to His purpose. Your pain, your failures, your doubts, they're all threads in a tapestry God is weaving into a masterpiece. But here's where fear creeps in, doesn't it? That voice whispering, what if I step out and fail? What if this sign isn't for me? Fear is a liar, chosen one, and it's been guarding the door to your destiny for too long. Fear doesn't come from God. In 2 Timothy 1:7, we're reminded, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. That fear you feel, it's the enemy's last desperate attempt to keep you small, to keep you from the spiritual awakening God is igniting in you right now. Picture fear as a shadow. It looks massive, but it has no substance when you shine God's light on it. And that light is burning bright through this message, exposing every lie that's held you back. Let's talk about what's at stake. This sign isn't just about you. It's about the lives you're meant to touch, the generations you're meant to shift. Imagine standing before God one day and He shows you the impact you could have had, the souls you could have inspired, the chains you could have broken, if you'd only trusted His sign. Imagine the ripple effect of your obedience. A child who finds hope because of your courage. A community transformed because you dared to act. Or imagine the cost of hesitation. Dreams unfulfilled, lives unchanged, a legacy left unwritten. In Hebrews 11:6 we're told, without faith it is impossible to please God. Faith isn't waiting for certainty, it's moving when the sign appears, even if your knees shake. So what does stepping into this moment look like? I'm not here to leave you with vague inspiration. God's plan for you is practical, actionable, and within reach. Here are 3 specific steps you can take right now to align with this divine sign. 3 steps to anchor your faith journey and spark your personal transformation. First, write down one goal for the next 7 days. It doesn't have to be massive. Maybe it's starting a journal, applying for a job, or sketching the first page of that book you've always wanted to write. Grab a pen and paper and commit to one tangible step. Writing it down makes it real. It's your declaration to heaven that you're ready. Second, reach out to someone you've been avoiding. Maybe it's a friend you need to forgive, a family member you've drifted from, or a mentor who can guide you. Send that text or make that call today. Don't wait. Connection is a key to your breakthrough. Third, start one small project you've delayed. It could be signing up for a class, launching a blog, or organizing a community event. Take one action. Register, research, or plan. These steps aren't random. They're bridges between where you are and where God is calling you. Let me be clear, these 3 steps are enough. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. God honors small acts of obedience, Think of the widow in Mark 12:44, who gave 2 small coins, her all, and Jesus said she gave more than the wealthy. Your small yes, your 3 steps carry eternal weight. Don't let overwhelm stop you. Let faith move you. Picture yourself a week from now, having taken these steps. You've written your goal, reconnected with someone, started that project. Can you feel the shift? That's not imagination. That's destiny awakening. If this message is stirring your soul, I want you to join thousands of chosen ones by typing, "I am claiming my divine sign" in the comments below. Your declaration isn't just words, it's a spiritual marker, sealing your commitment to this moment. And if you feel led to support this message reaching others standing at their own divine threshold, consider a gift through Super Thanks. Your generosity helps awaken more souls to their God-given purpose. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: doubt. You might be thinking, how do I know this is really God's sign? Doubt is normal, but it's not your master. In John 20:27, Jesus didn't shame Thomas for doubting, he invited him to touch the evidence. God's inviting you to touch the evidence now. Why else is your heart racing? Why else did you find this message at this exact moment? The sign isn't a billboard in the sky. It's the quiet certainty in your spirit, the resonance of truth in these words. Doubt wants proof. Faith sees promise. Choose faith. Let's go deeper. This video unveils a unique truth. Your deepest doubts are the keys to your greatest breakthroughs. Doubt isn't your enemy, it's your training ground. Every time you've questioned God's plan, you've been wrestling with your destiny, like Jacob wrestling the angel in Genesis 32:24-32. Jacob didn't walk away unscathed. He limped, but he walked away with a new name, Israel, and a new purpose. Your doubts, your questions, your struggles, they're not holding you back. They're shaping you into someone who can carry the weight of what's behind this sign. Think of Sarah. Not the Sarah from the analysis, but another real story. In 2019, in Atlanta, Sarah, a 32-year-old single mother, sat in her car outside her night shift job, exhausted and doubting God's goodness. She'd prayed for years to escape a toxic workplace, but nothing changed. One evening, a co-worker shared a podcast about trusting God's timing. Sarah felt a spark, but doubted it was for her. Still, she took a small step, enrolling in an online coding course she'd always dismissed as not for her. 6 months later, she landed a remote tech job, doubling her income and giving her time with her daughter. Her doubt didn't disqualify her, it drove her to act. What doubt is God using to push you toward your sign? Let's anchor this in Scripture again. In Matthew 7:7, Jesus says, "Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened." Notice the action verbs. Ask, seek, knock. God's sign isn't a passive promise, it's an invitation to move. Your 3 steps, writing a goal, reaching out, starting a project, are your way of knocking. And when you knock, heaven responds. Picture that door now, radiant with your name, swinging open to reveal not just blessings but purpose, not just answers but authority. This is your spiritual awakening, your divine purpose unfolding. But here's the urgency again, 30 minutes. Why 30 minutes? Because divine moments have boundaries. In Luke 19:44, Jesus wept over Jerusalem, saying they missed the time of their visitation. Don't miss yours. You don't need to solve every problem in 30 minutes, but you need to decide, will you trust this sign, take these steps, and step into your destiny? The clock is ticking, not to scare you, but to awaken you. God's not playing games with your purpose. He's calling you to rise now. Let's talk about what's on the other side of this sign. It's not a life free of challenges. Jesus promised trouble in John 16:33, but it's a life of triumph. On the other side, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. You're not just hoping, you're building. You're not just praying, you're impacting. Imagine a year from now. Your goal achieved, your relationships restored, your project flourishing. That's not fantasy. That's faith. Faith sees the harvest before the seed is planted. And your seed is your yes, your 3 steps, your trust in this sign. Now, let's address the practical side again. You've got your 3 steps. Write a goal, reach out, start a project. These aren't suggestions. They're your lifeline to the sign. Let's break them down further. Writing a goal clarifies your vision. Habakkuk 2:2 says, "Write the vision, make it plain." A clear goal, like I'll exercise 20 minutes daily or I'll save $50.00 weekly, gives you a target. Reaching out builds bridges. Ecclesiastes 4:9 reminds us 2 are better than 1. That call or text could unlock wisdom, support, or healing. Starting a project activates your gifts. Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established." One small action, like drafting a blog post or researching a course, sets miracles in motion. You might be wondering, what if I take these steps and nothing happens? Here's the truth. Obedience always bears fruit. In Galatians 6:9, we're promised, "Let us not grow weary in doing good. For in due season we will reap if we do not give up." Your steps may not yield instant results, but they're planting seeds in heaven's soil. Trust the process, trust the sign, trust the God who called you. Let's circle back to the sign itself. Picture it again, a star, radiant and fleeting, pulsing with your name. It's not just a symbol, it's a summons. In Revelation 3:8, Jesus says, "I have set before you an open door which no one can shut." That door is tied to this sign, and it's open now, but doors don't stay open forever. The 5 foolish virgins in Matthew 25:10 missed their moment because they weren't ready. Don't let preparation be your excuse. Your readiness is your faith, your 3 steps, your yes. Here's another story to ground this. In 2020 in Seattle, a woman named Clara, 60, felt stuck in a dead-end retail job. She'd always dreamed of opening a bakery, but doubted her skills and age. One Sunday, her pastor preached on seizing God's timing. Clara felt a jolt, her sign. She took 3 steps, wrote a business plan, called a friend who'd run a cafe, and started baking samples for local shops. Within a year, Clara's bakery was thriving, employing 3 young women and donating pastries to shelters. Her doubt became her doorway. What's your doorway? What's your sign? If this message is setting your heart ablaze, declare it. Type, "I am claiming my divine sign" in the comments. Your words are a spiritual contract, a beacon for others. And if you're led to support this ministry, a super thanks gift helps carry this truth to souls still searching for their sign. Join thousands of chosen souls by subscribing to Stay Connected to Your Divine Purpose. Hit that bell to never miss a message. Now, let's tackle one final hurdle: distraction. The enemy doesn't need to destroy you, he just needs to distract you. In 2025, distractions are everywhere. Endless notifications, social media, the noise of a world that wants your attention but not your soul. In Mark 4:19, Jesus warns of the cares of this world choking the word. Don't let this sign be choked. Your 30 minutes is a sacred window. Guard it. Silence your phone. Focus your heart. Take your steps. This is your divine moment, your personal transformation unfolding. As we near the end of this message, feel the urgency. The sign is blazing, but it's fading. You've got your 3 steps, your faith, your God. What's stopping you? Nothing. In Philippians 4:13, Paul declares, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." That's your truth. You're not too broken, too old, too late. You're chosen, called, equipped. The sign is yours. The door is open. The time is now. Chosen one, let's press deeper into this sacred moment. The sign before you, blazing like a star with your name etched in celestial fire, isn't just a call to action. It's a call to transformation. You're standing at the edge of a spiritual precipice, where the ordinary life you've known collides with the extraordinary purpose God has ordained. The air around you is charged, not with anxiety, but with divine anticipation. Can you sense it? That subtle shift in your spirit, like the first rays of dawn piercing a long night. This isn't about chasing fleeting success or temporary relief. This is about stepping into the eternal weight of your destiny, where every choice you make ripples through generations yet unborn. Picture a vast desert stretching endlessly under a starless sky. You've wandered there, haven't you? Through seasons of dryness, where hope felt like a mirage and every step drained your strength. But now, imagine a single point of light piercing that darkness. A radiant beacon pulsing with promise. That's God's sign, and it's not distant, it's here, now, illuminating the path you've been too weary to see. In Psalm 119:105, we're told, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." God's sign is His word made manifest, guiding you not to a vague future, but to a precise moment of decision. The desert wasn't your destiny, it was your training ground. Every mirage you chased, every oasis that dried up, was teaching you to trust the one who never fails. Let's talk about trust, because that's the bridge between where you stand and where this sign leads. Trust isn't blind optimism or reckless abandon. It's the quiet strength that says, "I'll move even when I can't see the outcome." Think of Abraham, called to leave his homeland for a place God would show him. Genesis 12:1 doesn't say Abraham had a map or a timeline, just a promise. Yet he packed up his life, stepped into the unknown, and became the father of nations. Or consider Ruth, a widow in a foreign land, choosing to stay with Naomi despite having no guarantee of provision. Her trust led her to Boaz, to a legacy that birthed King David and ultimately Jesus. Your trust in this sign could birth something just as monumental, not because you're flawless, but because God's promises are. You might be wondering, why me, why now? The enemy wants you to believe you're unworthy, that this sign is for someone holier, stronger, or more prepared. But God doesn't choose based on resumes. In 1 Corinthians 1:27, we're reminded, God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise, the weak things to shame the strong. Your weaknesses, those cracks in your confidence, those scars from past battles, are the very places where God's power shines brightest. Your story, with all its mess and miracles, is the canvas He's painting His glory on. The sign isn't for the perfect, it's for the persistent. For those who keep showing up despite the odds. Let me share another story to make this vivid. In 2023, in a bustling Chicago suburb, a woman named Lena, 53, sat in her cubicle, staring at a computer screen that felt like a prison. She'd spent decades in corporate jobs, suppressing a dream to start a non-profit for foster kids. Lena had faced rejection, failed grants, skeptical friends, and her own fear of leaving a stable paycheck. One evening, driving home, she heard a radio sermon about seizing God's timing. Her heart stirred, a sign she couldn't ignore. She didn't quit her job overnight, but she trusted the nudge. She wrote a mission statement, called a former colleague who'd worked in nonprofits, and began researching funding. Within a year, Lena's organization had secured a small grant, partnered with local churches, and mentored 12 foster teams. Her trust didn't erase the risks. It empowered her to face them. What trust is God asking you to lean into right now? If this message is setting your spirit ablaze, pause and type, "I trust God" sign for me in the comments below. Your declaration is a beacon, uniting you with thousands of chosen ones claiming their moment. It's not just words. It's a spiritual act, anchoring your faith in this divine hour. And if you feel moved to help this message reach others standing at their own crossroads, consider a small gift through Super Thanks. Your support carries this truth to souls yearning for their breakthrough. Now let's confront a subtle thief: comparison. In a world of curated lives and viral success stories, it's easy to look at others and think, they're living my destiny. Maybe you see a friend launching a business while you're still dreaming, or a colleague thriving in a role you feel called to. Comparison whispers, you're too late, too far behind. But that's a lie. In Galatians 6:4, Paul writes, "Each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone, without comparing themselves to someone else. Your sign, your path, your timing. They're uniquely yours. God didn't create you to mimic someone else's destiny. He crafted you to fulfill your own. The sign before you isn't a race against others. It's a rendezvous with your purpose." Think of the parable of the talents in Matthew 25:14-30. The master gave each servant a different amount, one 5 talents, another 2, another 1. He didn't expect the 1-talent servant to produce 5. He expected faithfulness with what was given. Your sign isn't about matching someone else's output. It's about stewarding what God's entrusted to you. Your 3 steps: writing a goal, reaching out, starting a project, are your talents, your act of faithfulness. Don't bury them in the soil of comparison. Invest them and watch God multiply what you offer. Let's anchor this in another truth. Your sign is personal, but its impact is generational. In Exodus 3:6, God tells Moses, "I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." Why mention 3 generations? Because God's promises span lifetimes. Your obedience to this sign doesn't just shift your life. It breaks chains for your children, your grandchildren, even strangers you'll never meet. Imagine a young girl finding courage because you started that mentorship program, or a family healed because you forgave a grudge. Your yes to this sign is a seed planted in eternity's garden, blooming long after you're gone. But here's the tension: the sign is fleeting. Why 30 minutes? Because divine moments are like manna in the wilderness. They come fresh, but don't last forever. In Exodus 16:21, the Israelites had to gather manna before the sun grew hot or it melted away. Your sign is your manna. Gather it now, or it may dissolve. This doesn't mean God abandons you, but some opportunities are tied to specific seasons. Miss this window, and the path may shift, the door may close. In Revelation 3:7, Jesus says, "What he opens, no one can shut, and what he shuts, no one can open." The door tied to this sign is open now. Don't wait for it to lock. Let's make this practical again. Your 3 steps, writing a goal, reaching out, starting a project, are your way of gathering this manna. They're not abstract, they're immediate. Picture yourself tonight, pen in hand, writing. "I'll volunteer at that shelter this month," or dialing a number saying, "Let's meet for lunch, I miss you," or clicking publish on a blog post you've drafted. These acts are your trust in action, your faith knocking on heaven's door. In James 2:17, we're told, "Faith without works is dead." Your steps breathe life into your faith, turning the sign into a pathway. You might feel a flicker of fear again. What if I'm misreading this? Let's dispel that with truth. In Proverbs 3, 5 and 6 we're urged, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." You don't need to understand every detail of the sign, just trust its source. Your heart's response, the resonance of this message, is evidence enough. Doubt seeks perfection. Faith seeks God. Choose God. Now let's shift to a fresh perspective. Surrender. You've been fighting to reach this moment, fighting doubt, fear, comparison, but the sign asks you to release control. Surrender doesn't mean giving up, it means giving over. In Matthew 16:24, Jesus says, "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me." Denying yourself isn't about losing your dreams, it's about aligning them with God's. That goal you wrote, surrender its outcome to God. That outreach, surrender the response to Him. That project, surrender its success to His timing. Surrender is the key that unlocks the sign's full power, turning your efforts into divine appointments. Picture a river, swift and strong, carving through a canyon. You're in a small boat gripping the oars, trying to steer against the current. Exhausting, isn't it? Now imagine laying down the oars, letting the river carry you. That's surrender, not passivity, but trust in the river's direction. God's sign is the river, guiding you to places you couldn't reach alone. Your 3 steps are your boat, necessary but not the power. Surrender is letting God's current move you. Let's close this segment with a final image. A battlefield at dawn, mist curling over the ground, a single warrior standing tall. That's you, chosen one. The sign above you is a banner proclaiming your victory before the fight begins. In Ephesians 6:12, we're told our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Your battle isn't your circumstances. It's the lies, fears, and distractions trying to dim this sign, but you're not alone. Angels are flanking you, heaven is cheering, and God Himself is your strength. The sign is yours. The steps are clear. The time is now. Chosen one, let's stand firm on this battlefield, where the mist of doubt swirls, but the banner of God's sign blazes above you, unyielding and radiant. The spiritual forces arrayed against you tremble, not because of your strength, but because of the one who called you. This moment, 30 minutes from vanishing, isn't just a fleeting opportunity, it's a divine summons to step into the authority you were born to wield. Picture that banner again, woven with threads of eternity, its edges glowing with the promise of your purpose. It's not waving for someone else, it's waving for you, declaring that the God who formed the galaxies has staked His name on your victory. The sign is alive, pulsing with urgency, and every second you linger risks letting its light dim. But you're not here to hesitate, you're here to rise. Let's dive into a new truth. Your identity as a chosen one isn't defined by what you've done, but by what God sees. The world has tried to label you failure, forgotten, unworthy, but those are counterfeit names, scrawled by an enemy desperate to keep you from your truth. In Revelation 2:17, Jesus promises, "To the one who overcomes, I will give a new name, written on a white stone, known only to the one who receives it." That new name isn't a title, it's your essence, your divine DNA whispered in heaven before time began. Maybe it's restorer, trailblazer, or light bearer. Whatever it is, it's yours, and this sign is God's invitation to claim it. Every rejection you faced, every moment you felt invisible, was the enemy's attempt to make you forget this name. But God hasn't forgotten. He's calling it out now, urging you to wear it with boldness. Think of Gideon hiding in a winepress, threshing wheat in fear. Judges 6:12 records the angel's greeting, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Mighty warrior. Gideon was no soldier. He was a farmer riddled with doubt, yet God saw his true name. That call transformed him into the leader who defeated an army with 300 men. Or consider Simon, the impulsive fisherman, renamed Peter, the Rock. In Matthew 16:18, he wasn't rock-like when Jesus named him. He was brash, unsteady, even denying Christ later. Yet Jesus saw his destiny, not his flaws. Your sign is God seeing your destiny, calling your true name and asking you to believe it before you see it. What name is he whispering to you now? Not the labels of your past, but the promise of your future. You might feel a tremor of resistance. I don't feel like a warrior or a rock. I feel broken. That's exactly why this sign is for you. In 2 Corinthians 12:9, God says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Your brokenness isn't a barrier, it's a beacon, drawing God's strength to shine through your cracks. The world celebrates the polished, but God exalts the surrendered. Your wounds, those moments of betrayal, loss, or shame, are the raw materials of your testimony. They're not your identity. They're your evidence of survival, proof that you're still here, still chosen, still called. Let me paint a real picture. In 2021, in a quiet Miami neighborhood, a man named Javier, 39, sat in his apartment, staring at unpaid bills. He'd grown up in foster care, carrying a label of unwanted that shaped his choices. Dead-end jobs, broken relationships, and a lingering sense of worthlessness. One night he found a video urging him to embrace his God-given purpose. His heart stirred, but the label unwanted screamed loud. Yet Javier paused. He wrote a goal to volunteer at a youth center, called an old foster brother for advice, and started mentoring teens. Today, Javier runs a program for foster kids, teaching them they're wanted, chosen, named by God. His old label didn't define him. His new name did. What label is God rewriting for you through this sign? If this message is awakening your true name, declare it. Type, "I claim my heaven-given name" in the comments below. Your words forge a bond with thousands of chosen ones, a chorus of warriors rising together. And if you're moved to help this truth reach others still bound by false labels, a small gift through super thanks amplifies this divine call, breaking chains across the globe. Now, let's shift to a fresh angle: resilience. You've been knocked down, haven't you? Maybe by financial strain, health battles, or dreams that crumbled. Yet here you are, still listening, still hoping. That's not luck. That's divine resilience, the Holy Spirit anchoring you through storms. In Philippians 3:13-14, Paul writes, "Forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead, I press on toward the goal." Paul didn't dwell on his past, prison, persecution, or failures. He pressed on. Your resilience is your ability to press on, to see this sign despite every blow you've taken. Each fall taught you to stand stronger. Each loss carved space for greater blessings. This sign isn't for the untested, it's for the unbreakable. For you. Resilience isn't just grit, it's worship. Every time you chose to pray instead of despair, to hope instead of quit, you worshipped God with your perseverance. Think of Job, stripped of wealth, family, and health, yet declaring in Job 13:15, "Though he slay me, yet will I hope in him." Job's resilience wasn't denial, it was defiance, a refusal to let suffering steal his faith. Your sign is God honoring your defiance, your refusal to let life's blows extinguish your life. Every time you got back up, heaven took note. Now the sign blazes, saying, "Your resilience has qualified you for what's next." But resilience alone won't carry you through this Synecdoche will. Your 3 steps, writing a goal, reaching out, starting a project, are your resilience in motion. They're not new burdens, they're your response to the sign, your way of saying, I'm still here, God, and I'm ready. Picture a marathon runner, legs burning, lungs screaming, yet pushing toward the finish line. Your steps are your final strides, carrying you across the threshold of this divine moment. In Proverbs 24:16, we're told, the righteous may fall 7 times, but they rise again. You've risen before. Rise now with pen, phone, or first draft in hand. You might wonder, what if I'm too tired to act? Exhaustion is real, but so is God's strength. In Isaiah 40:31, we're promised, those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. Your sign is your hope, renewing you not with human energy but with divine power. Your steps don't require perfection, just presence. Write that goal, even if it's messy. Make that call, even if your voice shakes. Start that project, even if it's small. God doesn't measure your steps by size. He measures them by faith. Let's address a new hurdle: isolation. The enemy loves to make you feel alone, as if you're the only one facing this battle. But you're not. Right now, across cities and continents, thousands of chosen ones are hearing this message, feeling the same stir, seeing their own sign. In Hebrews 12:1, we're surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses cheering us on. Your sign isn't solitary, it's communal, linking you to a family of faith. Your 3 steps connect you to others reaching out, builds bridges. Starting a project invites collaboration. Writing a goal inspires accountability. You're not alone. You're part of God's army, rising together. Now, let's explore legacy. This sign isn't just about today, it's about tomorrow, about the mark you'll leave on eternity. In Psalm 78:4, we're urged to tell the next generation the praiseworthy deeds of the Lord. Your obedience to this sign, your goal written, your outreach made, your project begun, plants seeds for others to harvest. Imagine a young man finding purpose because you mentored him, or a family breaking free from poverty because you started that business. Your legacy isn't wealth or fame, it's impact, measured in lives touched, chains broken, hope restored. Think of Hannah in 1 Samuel 1. Barren and mocked, yet praying for a son she vowed to give back to God. Her son Samuel became a prophet who anointed kings. Hannah's sign was her prayer, her legacy was a nation shaped. Your sign is your moment to pray, act, and shape. Your steps are your vow, your legacy's foundation. What legacy is God asking you to build through this sign? Not for pride, but for His glory. The clock ticks, 30 minutes, a divine boundary. In Luke 12:48, Jesus warns, to whom much is given, much is required. You've been given this sign, this moment, this truth. The requirement? Act. Your 3 steps are your response, your yes to God's much. Picture the sign again. A star fading but not gone. It's yours, chosen one, if you'll claim it now. Chosen one, the star of God's sign still burns above you. Its light a celestial summons, urging you to claim the destiny etched into your spirit. The urgency of these 30 minutes isn't a threat, it's a divine invitation, a sacred window where heaven aligns with earth to propel you into your purpose. Picture that star again, not distant in some cosmic void, but close, hovering over the battlefield of your life, illuminating a path through the mist of uncertainty. Its glow reveals not just where you're going, but who you're becoming. A vessel of God's glory, a warrior of His kingdom, a beacon for those lost in their own deserts. This sign is your divine moment, and every heartbeat counts down to a choice that will echo through eternity. Let's step into a fresh revelation. Your calling is not a destination, but a journey of becoming. The world tells you purpose is a single moment, a job secured, a dream achieved. But God's plan is a lifelong unfolding, a tapestry woven through every step you take in faith. In Philippians 1:6, we're assured, "He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus." This sign isn't the end of your story, it's a pivotal chapter, a turning point where you align with the work God began before your first breath. Your 3 steps, writing a goal, reaching out, starting a project, are not checkboxes to complete, but seeds planted in the soil of your becoming, sprouting into a life that reflects God's masterpiece. Consider Mary, the mother of Jesus, in Luke 1:38, responding to the angel's impossible news with, "I am the Lord's servant. May your word to me be fulfilled." She wasn't given a roadmap or a guarantee of ease, just a divine announcement. Her yes wasn't a single act, but a lifelong journey of surrender, trust, and growth, shaping her into the woman who stood at the cross and witnessed resurrection. Your sign is your angelic announcement, calling you to a journey of becoming. Your steps are your yes, each one molding you into the person God sees when He looks at you, a person of impact, courage, and eternal significance. You might feel a whisper of overwhelm. How can I become all that God intends? The journey feels too vast. Let that tension dissolve in truth. God doesn't demand instant transformation. He invites incremental obedience. In Zechariah 4:10, we're reminded, "Who dares despise the day of small beginnings?" Your goal written, your outreach made, your project started. These are small beginnings, but they carry divine weight. They're not the summit of your calling, but the first steps up the mountain, each one strengthening you for the heights ahead. Your becoming happens not in a flash, but in the faithful rhythm of showing up to God's sign. Let me share a story to ground this. In 2022, in a small Texas town, a woman named Elise, 44, sat in her kitchen, feeling trapped in a cycle of caregiving for her aging parents and raising teens. She'd once dreamed of teaching art to underprivileged kids, but life's demands buried that vision. One evening, a friend sent her a sermon clip about God's timing. Elise felt a stir, a sign. She didn't have resources or time, but she took small steps. She wrote a plan to offer free art classes, called a local community center to volunteer, and started sketching lesson ideas. Within months, Elise was teaching 20 kids weekly, funded by small donations. Her journey of becoming didn't end there. It began transforming her into a leader who inspired her town. What small beginning is God sparking in you through this sign? If this message is igniting your journey, declare it. Type "I embrace my divine becoming" in the comments below. Your words weave you into a tapestry of chosen ones, each thread strengthening the others. And if you're moved to help this truth reach more souls on their own path, a small gift through super thanks fuels this mission, lighting the way for God's remnant. Join thousands of chosen souls by subscribing to stay anchored in your divine purpose. Hit that bell to never miss a step of your journey. Now, let's explore a new facet: gratitude. The enemy wants you to focus on what's missing, closed doors, unanswered prayers, but gratitude shifts your gaze to what's present, this sign, this moment, God's unrelenting pursuit of you. In 1 Thessalonians 5:18, we're urged, "Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus." Gratitude isn't ignoring pain, it's recognizing God's hand in it. Every struggle that brought you here, every tear that watered your faith, is a reason to give thanks. This sign is proof God hasn't abandoned you. He's been orchestrating your arrival at this divine threshold. Gratitude is the lens that makes the sign's light brighter, its path clearer. Think of Paul and Silas in Acts 16:25. Imprisoned, beaten, yet singing hymns at midnight. Their gratitude wasn't denial of their chains, it was defiance of their circumstances. An act of worship that shook the prison doors open. Your gratitude for this sign, despite your battles, can shake open spiritual doors. Thank God for the goal you've written, even if it feels small. Thank Him for the outreach you're planning, even if it's daunting. Thank Him for the project you've begun, even if it's just a seed. Your gratitude is a key unlocking the next phase of your becoming. But gratitude isn't passive, it's active, fueling your steps. Picture a weary traveler in a storm, spotting a lantern in the distance. Gratitude doesn't just admire the light, it moves toward it. Your 3 steps are your movement, powered by a heart that says, "Thank you, God, for this sign, for this chance, for this purpose." In Psalm 104, we're told, "Enter His gates with thanksgiving and His courts with praise." Your gratitude enters you into God's presence, where the sign's promise becomes tangible. What are you thankful for right now? This message, this moment, this call to rise. Let's address a new challenge: impatience. The sign is urgent, but its fulfillment may unfold gradually. You've taken your steps, goal written, outreach made, project started, but you might expect instant results. In Habakkuk 2:3, God says, "The vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarries, wait for it will surely come." Your sign is the vision, blazing now, but its fruit ripens in God's timing. Impatience can tempt you to abandon your steps, but patience partners with faith to birth your breakthrough. Trust that your goal is taking root, your outreach is building bridges, your project is gaining momentum. God's delay is not denial, it's development, shaping you for the fullness of what's coming. Picture a farmer planting seeds in spring. He doesn't dig them up in summer, impatient for harvest. He waters, waits, and trusts the process. Your steps are your seeds, planted under the light of this sign. Water them with prayer, wait with faith, and trust God's harvest. In Ecclesiastes 3:1, we're reminded, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. This is your season to plant, your harvest will come. Your sign is the signal to begin, not to finish. Now let's shift to vision. This sign isn't just a call to act, it's a call to see. The enemy blinds you with distractions, but God's sign restores your spiritual sight. In 2 Kings 6:17, Elisha prays for his servants' eyes to open, revealing an army of angels surrounding them. Your sign is your prayer answered, opening your eyes to God's provision, protection, and purpose. See your goal not as a task, but as a divine assignment. See your outreach not as a risk, but as a bridge to destiny. See your project not as a hobby, but as a legacy. Vision transforms your steps from mundane to miraculous. Think of Nehemiah, gazing at Jerusalem's broken walls in Nehemiah 2:12. He didn't see ruin, he saw restoration, a vision that rebuilt a city. Your sign gives you Nehemiah's eyes, seeing potential where others see failure. Your life's broken walls, shattered dreams, strained relationships are not your end. They're your rebuilding project, guided by this sign. Your steps are your bricks, laying the foundation for God's vision. What do you see when you look at your life through this sign? Not lack, but possibility. Not defeat, but victory. The urgency remains. 30 minutes, a divine deadline. In John 9:4, Jesus says, "As long as it is day, we must do the works of him who sent me. Night is coming when no one can work." Your sign is your day, your chance to work. Night approaches, but you're not there yet. Your steps, goal, outreach, project are your work, your response to the light. Move while it shines.